This is Chang. I represent Taiwan's Mental Health Association past president and also Taiwan Action Allies for Mental Health. So, and also I'm professor retired from National Taiwan University. We are glad we promote the Global Allies for Mental Health Advocacy. And last year, Singapore has the first summit, and we continue to have the second summit. We like to match the Gamma's spirit, have the platform for everyone to share, and also, most important, let the government, stakeholders, consumer, or layperson join together to have mental health for everyone. That's why this time our topic is prioritizing mental health promotion. So also we use the World Mental Health Day press conference, emphasize on the topic. Every country needs to have Mental Health Promotion Act to implement mental health for all. Mental health should integrate into all policy. Mental health should be the human right. The second one for the World Mental Health Day, we also ask him to make the Department of Mental Health is true for the catch for the reality. Not like Taiwan because political issue, so they put oral to mental health. It's become a joke. Oral, Department of Oral and Mental Health. Have you heard that? So we also like this can be separate. So for World Mental Health Day, we know it's from World Federation for Mental Health since 1992. So every year for Taiwan, we have our World Mental Health Day festival. But it's very important. 2013, Taiwan government have reformed, so we have a Department of Mental Health and oral and mental health. Okay, yeah. But our government start to asking all the city and county to have the mental health network. So the mental health network, one job, they need to promote mental health, World Mental Health Day. So every year, right now, at least they were thinking about different way, different activity to make awareness for World Mental Health Day. Make mental health as a top priority. At least we can have awareness. Mental health is important and also integrate into different programs. Yeah. So I think this is the World Mental Health Day, Taiwan's promotion. Thank you.
I'm Ingrid Daniels, Director of Cape Mental Health in South Africa and President-elect, World Federation for Mental Health. So mental health promotion is of critical importance for all organizations and people in the mental health movement, and specifically for the World Federation for Mental Health. And this year, our theme is mental health promotion and suicide awareness and prevention. For us, it's important to promote mental health and mental well-being. All of us have to look after our mental health. Often the focus is on physical health to the exclusion of mental health. And so we want to continue with the conversations around talking about mental health, talking about what is important to take care of our mental health, and promoting the messages in every country, in every community, around the table, at any restaurant, wherever we go, we need to be talking mental health. As you know, mental health is a nation's wealth. And when we even look at the Sustainable Development Goals, there's a clear focus on mental well-being. And for us to look at mental well-being, we need to look at what does it require for us all to have good mental health. And so, as I said, the World Federation for Mental Health in the month of October has focused on mental health promotion and suicide prevention. It's of critical importance that everyone everywhere understands that their mental health is of critical importance. Mental health, if we have ill mental health, then it affects everything. It affects our ability to work, it affects our ability to function within our families and our homes. And so we want to ensure that we have healthy societies, mentally healthy societies. And so it becomes very important that we don't only focus on treatment, but also on prevention.
I'm Deborah Maguire. I am with the World Federation for Mental Health. Our office is located in the United States. Mental health promotion is key to, I think, the mental health movement that we have going across the world. The World Federation for Mental Health focuses much of its time on mental health awareness and promotion of good mental well-being. We try to put mental health in the spotlight in everything that we do. We try to encourage people to join us in our World Mental Health Day movement, to be united and empower the world to make lasting changes in mental health. We believe that the promotion of mental health reduces the stigma and discrimination that people receive when others do not understand mental illness. By eliminating that, people feel free to talk about mental health, to receive treatment for mental health, and to gain back their life. So recovery is the end result of mental health promotion. And we all need to participate in talking about mental health as much as we can to lower the discrimination and increase the promotion and the recovery of all people around the world. And the World Federation is going to continue to push these topics of mental health promotion, of mental well-being, and to try to get changes from the grassroots advocacy all the way up to the government level. So we hope that mental health promotion will be in every country, in every community, in every person's everyday life. And therefore, recovery will be available to everyone who needs it. So we hope that we can continue our work in that area, and the changes that we will see when we all work together and we all unite on the theme of mental health promotion will be everlasting around the world.
Hello, my name is Nancy Wallace, and I am the United Nations representative for the World Federation for Mental Health. And I want to say that I am very excited to be here at the Global Summit for Mental Health. This is an extraordinarily important program and for the Asia-Pacific area. I'm also honored to be in Taiwan. I've been coming to Taiwan since 1999, and we've been trying to figure it out, and I think this is about my 18th trip to Taiwan. And I have to say that I love being in Taiwan. I feel that the people here in Taiwan are some of the most committed and dedicated people, and are so involved in helping other people, involved in the NGOs, involved in developing services and programs for people with many different kinds of problems. But I've also been very proud to see how mental health has really developed over the 20 years that I've been coming to Taiwan. In my work at the United Nations, when I started at the United Nations as a representative for the Federation, it was in 1993 that I began my work there. And when I started, mental health was not discussed at all. There were people that believed in mental health, but no one was advocating for mental health. It wasn't on the agenda, it wasn't in any of the conventions, was not discussed by the General Assembly. Nowhere in the UN was mental health really at all a priority. And it became very obvious when I went there to represent the Federation that we really needed to bring together people to do some very strong advocacy, to raise the awareness of mental health at the United Nations and to the governments of the UN and the UN agencies, so that it became a much bigger issue, and that people began to understand the importance of including mental health in the agenda at the United Nations. So we started very small. There were just a few of us, and over the time that I have been there, we have seen the numbers of us that are advocating for mental health grow significantly. We've also seen that from nothing, there is now a very strong presence for mental health in the UN, and there are new movements developing within the governments and with the UN agencies to really promote mental health and to begin to think about how mental health, the importance of mental health. Now, one of the advocacy strategies that we've had is that most people, when they think of mental health, they also think of what I think of as chronic mental illness or chronic mental health issues. And we began to understand that within the context of the United Nations, that we could just not be talking about mental health as a disease, but we needed to be talking about mental well-being and how the impact of economic and social conditions impacted people's lives and began to really cause problems with their general well-being. And so we began to think of a strategy of how we would talk about mental health from mental well-being along a continuum to mental illness. And that allowed us to begin to talk about the impact of mental health, not just as a health issue, but to talk about many other issues and how they all had a component of mental health within them. So we started talking to people about economic issues and poverty and how that had a relationship to mental health. We started talking about women's issues and the issues of violence against women, and we talked about how that had a significant impact on women's mental health. We talked about immigration and refugees. We talked about a broad range of issues, even sometimes the issues of agriculture and work and how that impacted people's lives, or the unemployment, how that impacted people's lives and had a mental health component. And so we've taken a very broad approach to how we look at mental health. Now, we have made some significant advances, and one of the most significant has been when the Sustainable Development Goals were developed. It was one of the first times that mental health was actually mentioned in a very significant program of or in a plan of action for the United Nations. And that was really an important stepping stone that took place for us. And that was really the result of the advocacy that those of us, the NGOs that are there at the UN, and the advocacy of the representatives of the World Federation, and how we have been effective in really creating change at the UN and bringing awareness and education about mental health to the United Nations, to the agencies of the UN, and to the governments of the world. And we're very proud of that effort that we have been able to see the progress in that area. And I want to say that there is something that I feel that is missing in our advocacy and with the work that we do, and that is the voice of the consumers in our advocacy efforts. For the most part, those of us that are there doing the advocacy work are the professionals in mental health. And I would really like to encourage consumers to come and join us. We need the voices of all of us together. I should not be speaking on behalf of the consumers. Consumers should be speaking on their own behalf. They should be informing the work that I do and informing the work on the awareness and education on mental health and bringing the issues that are most important to consumers and to professionals together in partnership. That's what we need as a message to bring to the United Nations, and I think that that would strengthen our advocacy efforts. Recent changes and recent events that have been taking place at the UN have shown me that our work over the last 20-some years at the UN has really paid off, and we are on the verge, I truly believe, of a real revolution in bringing mental health awareness across the world. And I believe that this program that we are here attending right now, the second Global Summit, is going to be a significant event and to, again, help promotion within the region and help us all move the agenda of mental health forward into the future. Thank you very much.
It's been a wonderful experience visiting Taiwan, and this is my first visit here, and attending the presentations this morning and this afternoon was very illuminating for me. I think one of the things that I want to take back to Australia is that we have a lot to learn from what is happening here in Taiwan. In Australia, there has been an important emphasis on mental health and well-being for a number of years. So in the Australian context, we have policy, and I learnt this morning how important policy is, and when the Vice President of Taiwan opened the conference. It's very important that we engage with our politicians and our policymakers to convince them about the significance of mental health. In Australia, that's what we have been trying to do. We have been trying to engage with our politicians to convince them to contribute to funding that will improve the mental health of young people, that will improve the mental health of adults, and that will address the needs of the elderly. So the importance of policy is one of the key things that I think that Australia is focused on at the moment. We have what is called a roadmap to mental health. The roadmap to mental health in Australia is designed to identify programs that will take mental health issues forward in our society to improve the mental health of all people. There are key elements to improving the mental health of all people, and those key elements relate to factors like engaging with the community. So, for example, in Australia, one of the programs that we have is the Are You OK Day. Now, the Are You OK Day is really a way for Australians to talk to each other in the workplace and at home and in the schools and on the streets, and to simply ask the question, are you okay? And that is intended to open up a conversation amongst all people around mental health. So at the press conference today, which I thought was extremely informative for me to hear about what is happening not only in Taiwan but around the world, there are different programs that are running that are meant to engage the issue of mental health. And those programs, a lot like the Are You OK Day in Australia, is meant to do that. One of the other areas that we have been working on particularly, and that I've been interested in, is that of school bullying. And school bullying and violence is an issue in Australia. I've learnt that in Taiwan it is also an issue, but in the Australian context we seem to have a bigger problem. So it has been important to engage with our policymakers and politicians to convince them that if we can improve the mental health of young people and stop bullying and violence, that it will actually improve the academic outcomes, because a lot of our educational makers really are only interested in literacy and numeracy and academic outcomes. So one of the programs in Australia that we have focused on, or one of the foci in Australia that we have focused on, is convincing our politicians that if you invest some money and some funding in mental health programs that have an evidence base, that is, they can be shown to work, that those will bear fruit. And they will bear fruit in the sense that these young people's academic performance, their literacy and numeracy, will improve as we address their issues around mental health. So the importance for us, one of the important issues for us, for example, is to develop evidence-based programs. So to that extent, one of the things that we have been doing for many years now is working with teachers in schools around the issue, for example, of school bullying and violence. Teachers do have really important insight into what is happening in their classroom. And like the Taiwanese teachers, I'm sure they have particular good, strong insight into what is happening in their classroom and their students' lives. Teachers know about students' lives. They know what goes on amongst the students at school. They know what goes on amongst the students at home and in the community. So in the Australian context, we have been developing evidence-based programs that will enable that that can be shown to improve the mental health of young people by addressing the issue of school bullying and violence. One of these programs is called the Peace Pack. Now, the Peace Pack is a program that we have developed working alongside teachers and school counsellors and psychologists and educational authorities. Peace is a way forward. Peace stands for a program that looks at helping teachers deliver evidence-based programs in schools through their lesson plans that teach children practical things about conflict resolution, about problem solving, about resilience. It also teaches them something about how to cope with different types of bullying, like verbal, physical, social, and now social media or cyberbullying. So one of the important elements of the Peace program that's used not only in Australia, but it's used in countries like Japan and Malta and Greece and now Italy, is that it teaches young children how they can best cope with bullying and at the same time improve their mental health and well-being, and to flourish and to grow and to become all that they can possibly be in terms of their own lives.
Hello, my name is Fardos Hussaini, and I'm the interim national CEO of the Canadian Mental Health Association. And I really enjoy that, being in Taiwan and really focusing on mental health promotion. And it's important that we focus on mental health promotion because we know the stats that depression will be the leading cause of disability by 2020, and suicide rates are increasing year after year. So what does that tell us? That tells us that we won't be able to treat our way out of this crisis. What we need to do is focus on mental health promotion. We have to ensure that we're looking at environments and settings where people spend the majority of their time. So children in schools, young adults and adults in workplaces, and everyone else in communities. This is where we spend the majority of our time, and we have to ensure these environments are healthy and supporting our well-being. You know, and it's a metaphor we always talk about, is that to get ahead of this crisis, we have to move upstream. And what does upstream mean? Is that there's a story of an individual who's standing by a river and he finds someone falling in. He jumps in, grabs that person, brings them out and resuscitates them. 5 minutes later, another individual is floating by. He jumps in again, and then 5 minutes later, another individual. So eventually he's like, what's going on? He goes to the top of the hill and he sees that there's a broken bridge, and we have to fix the broken bridge. And this is similar for mental illness and mental health. We have to ensure that we are promoting and taking care of people's mental health so they don't ever get into a crisis. And this is the only way we will get ahead of it. This is the only way that the numbers will decrease. And we have to ensure that we're all doing this together with one voice, collaboratively, in partnership, and unified.
Hello, I'm Janet Na, and I'm at this wonderful conference, Prioritising Mental Health Promotion, and it's in Taipei, Taiwan, and I'm from Australia, and I'm very proud to be here and very pleased that there's so much progress in mental health and so much political will to make life better for people with mental health issues in Taiwan. I only hope that the government and the organisations and professionals are able to take into account that words come very cheap. We can all say lots of big, important words and make fabulous promises, but if the person who lives with mental illness is no better off because of them, then they're empty words and useless and garbage. So if we can make the words true and the policies follow the words, then wow, this will be big changes in mental health in Taiwan and will benefit the people who live with mental health issues, help them to have real roles in the community, have pride in their achievements, and in my point of view, people who live with mental health issues need to speak for themselves, to be educated about how to speak up and to use that voice to change from the outside in. And I'd love all services to reflect on the fact that everybody's life is a hero's journey. We are all heroes, And sometimes no one stops to tell you that. But it takes a lot when you live with mental health issues to get up in the morning, do what you have to do, and to be better than everyone around you to prove that you're all right. And we are all right. In fact, we're terrific because we're living our hero's life, because we confront things no one can see. They're inside us, but we get on with it and we live our life. And I hope everyone that hears this wants to help someone live their hero's journey and get to be their own hero in their own story of recovery. Thank you.
你好，我是从香港来的 Deborah Wan. So I'm from Hong Kong. I myself has been devoting mental health promotion for the last 3 decades, I mean more than 30 years. So what I'm trying to say is that mental health promotion is an ongoing process. It won't stop because they need to be educated from the very young to the very old. From my experience about it, I'm also involved with the World Federation for Mental Health, World Mental Health Day, because I have been involved with the WFMH for many years, being the past president of the World Federation. And starting from 1995 in Hong Kong, I started the mental health education, or what we call Mental Health Week, as a promotion effort. So from 1995 until now, 2019, so it's more than almost 30 years for doing mental health promotion. Now it's more than just 1 week, it's a 1-month program in which the government and the NGOs are working together to launch a lot of activities, including like the theme of mental health in the workplace, mental health of the elderly, mental health of the adolescents, and so on. So each year there's a theme for focusing what is the mental health promotion for that particular year, and also for the Hong Kong people. So I think that it's everybody's business, not just only the professionals in doing mental health. So everyone should be involved, every family, every parents, even for the adolescent and also the older elders are being involved in mental health promotion. So we want to do more prevention so that more people enjoy their life both physically and also mentally. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Chrisna Mayangsari. I'm a psychiatrist from Jakarta, Indonesia. I graduated from University of Indonesia. As well, right now I'm working as a public psychiatrist in Bekasi Government Hospital. My experience being an early career psychiatrist is very challenging because in Indonesia, lots of people, they don't know about what is mental health. And some of them come because of their awareness, but mostly because people or others, such as friends or teachers, bring them to meet doctors or psychiatrists. As low and middle income countries, Indonesia has a big effort to promote about mental health. Right now, we are working every year for mental health event, welcoming or we celebrate the World Mental Health Days. This year, we prevent about suicide. So we had the events in university and school and also the hospital to promote more about mental health and to prevent suicide. Right now, I'm very grateful because in Taiwan, it is our second time being a presenter in the second Global Mental Health Summit. So hopefully, these words can spread to all the people, not only in Indonesia, but also in other low and middle income countries to get access more and more to the psychiatrists, and do not be afraid to go and meet psychiatrists or other mental health professionals. Thank you very much.
我是严彩如，来自马来西亚。那我在大学的时候是在台湾念的，大学研究所都在这里。那现在是在澳洲格里菲斯大学，在 Brisbane 念我的博士班。那心理健康促进，因为我 会一些不同的语言之下，其实我发现是很难解释跟翻译的。所以像马来文的话呢，心理健康其实是直接翻译是头脑或者是心灵。那在华语啊或者是翻译去英文的时候会有不同的意思。所以我觉得心理健康促进很常就会沦陷到一刚开始被翻译成的是哪一个领域，就会被哪一个领域去操作去发展这样。那因为在不同领域里面，我在不同亚洲国家很多的 program， 其实还是很难或者是很少的重视是在促进或者是前期的预防。很多的资源大部分都在后面的后端的治疗，但是我觉得今天一整天下来，大部分的人都一直提到说，在倡议心理健康促进一定要走到前端去，因为后端已经很来不及了。那在澳洲，我们现在提倡的是每一个人都有他的责任跟角色，在心理健康促进这个领域，每一个人都可以发挥他的良能，不管是学术啦、做研究，或者是在政策我们做资源的分配，或者是你今天有一些过去的经验，其实都可以很宝贵，可以去分享给别人。那这个是一个非常漂亮的舞台，今天我们要创造的更多的门，还有更多的桥梁，更多的平台，让更多的人跟资源跟机会来一起去推动心理健康促进。那这是我觉得是要在我的倡议的一个 message 这样子。谢谢。